Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Listen, I'm glad to have you guys here on the Delta Report. It's going to be a special show. I just made out a list in the last 10 minutes. I'm sitting there making a list. Just like kids, wait for Santa Claus to come. They make a long list of stuff, Santa Claus. Anyway, listen, I'm just going to run over this list. Maybe something or another will bring a smile to your face. I'm going to run over it in the next 5 or 10 minutes, and that's what the show's going to be. Just going to run over the list. We're going to take a look at this stuff. Going to take a look at the list. First thing I want to talk about on the list is barbecue. You guys know how nice it is, you get out on a patio deck, in the evening in the summertime, and you got hot dogs and you got hamburgers cooking and everything. You get the and you can hear the sizzling of all the steaks you got on the grill, and you got your hamburger patties there and everything, and you can pour on a little bit of that sweet sauce, barbecue sauce, and it's kind of dripping down in, and every time it drips on the charcoal embers, a little pop of fire comes off of them, and that smell comes into the air, in a delightful summer evening, and you got some sort of a mosquito thing set up so mosquitoes aren't going to bother you too much. There's nothing like barbecuing. That's first thing on the list. Next thing on the list is tornado chasers. Can you imagine? There's these guys out there, seriously, who actually chase these enormous beasts. And, I've been watching their videos, and they got a car, quite seriously, that they chase these things with. And these guys have built these cars themselves. One's called the Dominator, and they got these cars up on hydraulics so that the car can lift up and down on the hydraulics. And they got this skirting around the car that's all made out of like thick steel plating, and it's got multi-layers of Lexan for windows, real thick Lexan. And these guys can quite literally get in close to a tornado, and they can drop the vehicle down to the ground so the tornado can't pick it up. And the tornado can actually roar over the car. And they're inside it. And they're inside the twister. It lasts about 2 or 3 minutes. And I was watching a video of the tornado roaring. It's unbelievable. It gets dark outside, and all you hear is a roar, and you hear stuff hitting the side of the vehicle. And this vehicle weighs like 13,000 pounds, because of all this steel plating and everything. And you can feel it shaking the vehicle. If they so much as put their finger outside the window, the tornado would probably jerk their finger, break their finger maybe, It's that strong. And it's amazing to watch these videos that these guys have made. So what's next on the list? Next on the list is fishing. Something that a lot of us like to do every summer, You like to get the boat out on the lake. And generally it goes together with barbecuing really well, And we like to dip our lines in the water, I like to talk about all these things right now while we're going through this terrible crisis. We have to look forward. Possibly sometime later this summer, maybe toward fall, we might get a chance to do all these things. And a lot of you out there are probably saying, well, we can do it now, but right now there's a giant dark cloud looming over our head. This cloud might be gone later this summer, and we might be able to do all these things. We have to appreciate how good we have it to be able to do all these things. Fishing. Wonderful, you can get your little boat out on the lake or whatever, or you might want to trot back in the woods and find some place where it's more remote and you can get the big trout or whatever, or bass down where I grew up down in Florida. Had largemouth bass is what we used to fish for. And I remember a springs I used to go to, and I used to try to fish for these largemouth bass. And there's some big lunkers in there, great big largemouth bass. Some of them weighed up to like 12 pounds, and used to love to go there and try to angle these fish. And there used to be a fish that used to be in there called mullet. Now this was down in Florida, and the mullets were quite big, and I used to try to catch the mullet too. I used to use a throw net, When I was a young guy, I threw that throw net so many times in so many places. I used to fish down around New Smyrna Beach and Daytona Beach and different beaches, I used to go to, and I used to catch fish with that fish net, and I used to be really good fishing in the old days, down around Florida, where I used to fish. I had a lot of fun down there doing that. Anyway, let's move on. What's the next topic? Baseball. A great American game, great American pastime. And there's nothing like going to a baseball game and we get into those hot dogs again. This is coming. Later this summer is going to be we're going to be back to a time when we can actually go to a baseball stadium. This is coming. And I'm going to look forward to the day when they open it up and we can come back in and have crowds again. This is going to be great. So we got this to look forward to. But baseball is the all-American game, a game where you have a certain amount of innings. And you probably know what I'm talking about. You can play it on small teams and stuff. There's small baseball diamonds in almost every park in every city in the United States. And a lot of people now are getting into something called drones. They love to go out to an empty baseball stadium or something, and fly their drones. And this is quite a hobby too. Now, I didn't have this on the list today about drones. This is getting to be drone racing, and also drone photography is getting to be a really good hobby for a lot of people. And you'd be amazed at the photographs and stuff you can take, using a drone. It can go up and into the air. You can get an aerial shot of your house. And, it's getting to be quite a big hobby. Next thing I got on the list is hockey. Great Canadian hobby or great Canadian sport. We all like to go out and watch a hockey game, and it's the same game that they used to play all the way back in Aztec times, except they used to use a ball, and the Aztecs, they would have a court, and it's similar to a hockey stadium, and they'd try to get the ball in the little hole. These are different variations of the same game, like soccer is a similar idea, You got a goal, and you try to get the ball in that goal, and then you score, Basketball, again, the same variation of a similar game, You try to get the ball into the hole, and there's a lot of sports that copy that particular they're different variations of the same thing, Golf. Now, here's a sport you guys can play by yourself, on the golf course on the weekend, and if your doctor tells you, hey, you know what, Jerry or whatever your name is, or Bill or whatever your name is, he says, you got to walk more. Well, this is a sport that you should probably think about taking up. Because, golf is a heck of a long walk if you walk a full 18 holes. But let's say you can't walk a full 18 holes. Let's say you got to rent a car, a little golf car. And a lot of people think, well, I rented a car so I didn't walk. I didn't get my walking in. I didn't get any walk. Wrong. Because there's still a lot of walking, even with a little golf car, and if that's what you need to take, you're still getting out in the fresh air. And, I figured it out because my knee got bad, and I used to play a lot of golf and my back was bad and everything, so I'd get out there and I'd rent a cart. The last few years I played golf, I rented a cart every time I went, a little golf cart. And so I did the math and I figured it out. To walk like an 18-hole golf course the whole way, by the time you chase your ball around and everything else, you're getting about a 6-mile walk. But, with a golf car, it's not as much, but, you're still getting pretty near 2 miles, even when you rent a little golf car. So it's really good exercise for the legs, excellent exercise for the cardiovascular system, and it's a good way to get your walk in while you're actually doing something. So I worked at golf for a long time. I go out about twice a week, and I got my handicap down really low. If I went out golfing now, my handicap would be ridiculously high. Anyway, there's the next thing on the list, golf. Now, what about music? Every generation that comes along has new music that they like. And inevitably, the older generation hates it. They have the music that they liked. It's almost like each particular person has a period in time between, say, the year 12 years old and, say, 30 years old. where they bond to the particular type of music that's playing at that particular time. And that's the music that they like, is the music of their youth, you know? And so when the next generation comes along and they get a little bit of a new sound, a little bit of a different instruments, a little bit different way of singing or whatever, you know, the older generation always hates it. You ever notice that? But it seems like each 10 years we have a different type of music that comes along, and the music kind of fits the period piece. Each 10 years we make a period. It's like the 80s, the 90s, the 70s, the 60s. Who can forget the Roaring 20s? You know, and each one of those period pieces has their own music to go along with that particular time frame in history. Now, what have I got else on here? I got hot dogs and hamburgers and pizza. These are the foods. These are the glorious three. These types of foods. These foods. These are the foods we love in North America, you know? Hot dogs, hamburgers, and pizza. You know? And, you know, I'm stuck here at home. I don't have any pizza. Don't have any hot dogs. Don't have any hamburger. You know? I'm having to eat stuff like Kraft Dinner and oatmeal and stuff like that. Cans of beans. Anyway, I can't wait until this virus is gone because I want to get in there and have myself a pizza, you know, and with all kinds of toppings on it, you know, and really thick cheese. I mean, I might just order when this thing's over, you know. I might just order a pizza with double cheese and just sauce and cheese, a great big wagon wheel of a pizza, and I might really have a feast on it, you know. But there's something about that hot mozzarella cheese when it's really nice and thick, you know, and you bite into it and it's got the sauce underneath and the sauce kind of squirts up around the mozzarella cheese and the mozzarella cheese is really stretchy. You know, there's something about that, you know, that's really, really nice, you know. Farming. The farmers out there in America. The salt of the earth. They are the ones that provide our food. And aren't they all proud of their tractors? And they should be. Beautiful tractors, and those tractors cost a fortune. And you know, with today's technology, inside the cab of the tractors, they have air conditioning in there and everything. All hydraulic levers and everything. They can adjust their seat to wherever they want it, you know, and they got some of the loveliest tractors here in North America. And some of these tractors cost like $250,000. Beautiful. Great big tractors. John Deere, you know, is one of the premier makers of tractors, but there's other makers too, you know, that make really good tractors. But the pride of the American farmer, a lot of them is their fleet of tractors that they have. Beautiful tractors and beautiful farm machinery. Fast cars. You know, even if you guys don't have a Porsche or a Lamborghini or still you're proud of your car. Most people are, except for me, you know, that black GM I bought, piece of garbage. But the older GM, I went back to it, you know, and started driving it, and it drives good, so I'm proud of that car. That's been a really good car for me. I've had some really good cars. You know, I've had quite a few cars in my lifetime. And you can't always, I'll tell you one of the things about cars. Sometimes you get a good one, even in a car manufacturer that's not the best of a car manufacturer. You get a good one. And sometimes you can get a bad one, a lemon, even in cars that are supposed to be good cars. I remember one time I bought a Honda Civic. Normally a very good car. And the first one I bought was a terrific car. It really was. It was tough, rugged, and it was a really good car. It gave me good service. So I figured to myself, hey, you know, I'll buy another one of these Honda Civics. These are great little cars. So I bought a second one. It was the worst piece of junk I've ever had in my life. And I don't understand why, because it was the same year, same model and everything as the first one. But It was a total lemon. It was just constantly breaking. One thing after another after another. Found out that the guy that owned it before me, he had a whole bunch of, in the glove panel, he had a whole bunch of receipts from where he had it in and got it repaired over and over and over and over and over again. I mean, he had a wad of receipts that was as big as your fist, in the glove. And I should have took a clue before I bought it that 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 was a lemon. That particular Honda Civic was a total lemon. Our pets, dogs and cats. We all love our pets. We're almost as proud, maybe prouder of our pets than we are of our cars. And, pets show us unconditional love. Wonderful, our pets, our dogs, our cats, Wonderful that we can actually have them, and we got different kinds of pets, too. Some people have different kinds of exotic pets. Some people like to have a rat as a pet. Some people like to have a bat as a pet. Some people like to have a snake as a pet, They even have pet rocks. Our culture and our dance. Each nation around the earth has its own culture and its own dance, and their own types of dances that have come from their historical past that we all cherish, And so anyway, listen, guys. Don't let this virus get you down. Things are eventually going to turn back around to normal again. It's not going to last forever. I'm sure that our great-great-grandparents that had to go through the Spanish influenza felt the same way that we do right now, And what we have to do is we have to think about things like this show that I produce, the good things in life that keep us going and everything, and this is what we live for, and this is what we're going to have in our future come back full. We're going to bring this economy around to full again, and by the time this virus is gone. So listen, thank you guys for listening. Give me a thumbs up, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.